Real estate investing with no money. Is it really possible? Well, in this video, I interviewed Tom, who started a YouTube channel a couple of months ago called FlipAnythingUSA, and he has over 30 years of experience with investing in both residential and commercial properties. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to connect with Tom is that he's not selling or interested in selling any courses. Like me, he's simply sharing his information for free. I asked him why he's decided to share his knowledge now, and how can people get started with real estate investing with no money.
20 years ago, I'd never share any of this stuff that I'm sharing. I'm like, I don't want competition. You know what I mean?
Hi Tom, how are you?
Hey, very good Andy, thanks for having me.
Now first of all, congratulations on the launch of your YouTube channel. You've only been uploading videos for a couple of months, and already you've got over 300 subscribers and over 14,000 views. That's incredible.
Thanks. I don't really have anything to measure it against, so I don't know, but I appreciate that. It seems like people have been very receptive.
Well, based on my experience, you're doing really well, Tom, so keep up the good work. Now, my channel is focused on helping people to get started or improve their property investing business using the traditional methods of a deposit to buy. Now, you have all that experience and more with both residential and commercial properties. I know you have a shopping mall as an example that produces a six-figure income for you, and you invest with more creative ways of no money down. Before we get into that, can you just tell us why you have now decided to share this information online for free?
Sure. So look, I've been investing like this for 36 years. Hard to believe. I'm in my 50s. Okay. So, and I started late, kind of an older dad, I didn't start till I was in my 30s. So I've got 4 kids. I've got 2 daughters in college. One 19, one 21, and then I've got twin boys that are 14 years old. So my boys are not all that interested in what I do, although I take them with me everywhere. They see how I take care of my customers, and you might even you'll catch them in some of my videos too. But I teach them to treat the tenants like customers, because that's what I do, because they are my customers, and I try to tell my tenants that. That they're like my partners, because hey, we're going to go through ups and downs in the economy, and we got to work together, because their survival, we work together to make it. And so back to the main reason I started the channel though is so I've got this dilemma. I've got 14-year-old boys that are kind of disinterested just because they're young boys. They actually keep very busy in school, but they got hobbies and things they like to play with. And I don't want to, impose my dream on them necessarily now. And then I've got my older children that are in college. They're very busy, getting a career trade under their belt. So my purpose for making this video is my video blogs, I call it. It's really for my boys. My girls too, but primarily it's for my boys, because the investor's life is really, there's nothing like it. It really is a fantastic lifestyle. And I started very early, and it was just kind of by happenstance that I got, things clicked and happened for me. But the reason I want to share it in a video blog is, one, it's easier than writing a book for me. And I think that the real life encounters that I hit day to day with customers, I think there's an important lesson there. And I've done so many transactions. I started in residential, and even, I've been somebody that buys and sells things too. I bought and sold a fire truck, forklifts, machinery. There's all kinds of opportunities. And people often are afraid of what they don't know. And I understand that. We all are, right? A lot of times, new territory. But back to your question, the reason I'm making this in the form of a video blog is, I can get everything out as it comes to mind. Alzheimer's runs in my family. My father died of it. I watched him die of it slowly, in the last 5 years. And so I'm very concerned about possibly being affected by Alzheimer's. It killed my grandmother as well. And so it's in my family. It's in the gene pool. As you get older, you start to have little memory loss anyways, which I'm having some. but I don't know if it's directly attributable to Alzheimer's or not, but because I think everybody has a little of that, but I'm aware that I'm getting old. And so my concern is I want to get this all out in a video blog, because my fear is that in 10 years or 15 years, when my boys are, maybe they're getting really interested, it might be too late. I may not have the capacity to articulate to my boys, what they should and shouldn't do. So I will have had this video blog already laid down, and perhaps I'll take the snippets of my video blog and I'll create a book from that. Who knows? But that's the main reason, is I'm just trying to leave a roadmap for my boys and my kids to follow. And I like sharing it with the public. Hey, it's a big world. 20 years ago, I'd never share any of this stuff that I'm sharing. I'm like, I don't want competition. You know what I mean? Because I just don't want the competition. No, I don't care. I got enough. I got plenty. And so I don't mind sharing. And so many people don't use the information that's handed to them, unfortunately. But yeah, and so I want the feedback. I want the feedback because my boys aren't going to ask the right questions, but the people watching that are interested, that want to make money this way, they will ask the right questions. And I've got the answers. I just got to hear the questions, because a lot of times you start talking about a subject that you know so well, you overlook the things that are important to individuals, you know what I mean, that don't know.
Yeah, I do know what you mean, Tom. And obviously I wish you all the best. I hope Alzheimer's doesn't come to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a reality. It may not hit me, but hey, there's two down that are, my dad and my, so I can't ignore it. I just don't ignore it. You know what I mean? And that's fine. I'm happy. I've had a great life. I'm not condemned to it. I've not been diagnosed with it. It's just a concern. All my family, all my brothers and sisters are all very concerned about it. But, hey, everybody's got something. Cancer doesn't run in your family. It's Alzheimer's or something else. Heart attack. Everybody's got something they're afraid of in their gene.
Okay, yeah. And the other thing is, I can completely relate to the way that you want to help your children, because it's what I'm doing. It's one of the reasons I'm doing this. And, I want them to do what they enjoy. I think it's important that people do what they enjoy, especially for a living. Yes. But, in the background, they invest for the long term in assets. In my ideal world, yes, somebody would work for 20 years to earn an income, invest in the background, and then after 20 years be able to survive on their investments to enjoy the rest of their life and be financially secure. So there'll be a point where when my children are in their late 20s or 30s, if I haven't already taken an interest in what I'm doing, then I'll be saying to them, look, you need to pay attention to this, because when I go, it'll be yours, and I don't want it falling apart, and then you can hand it on to your children.
Yep. Second generation usually squanders what the one before made for them. So
don't say that.
Yeah, I've actually got mine set up that my kids really won't. I mean, I'll educate them. I'll give them seed money to start a company. But even after I die, I'm still controlling the purse strings to a degree, because they'll be in their 40s before they're going to really get much access to the money. And the way I've got it set up, I met a trust fund kid, very, very rich kid, at a nice resort in Hawaii years ago. And he's kind of spoiled. I mean, but I kind of like the model that the grandfather had laid down, his great-great-grandfather. And what he did is he created the money to go to the kids. I'm making it go. My kids won't get access to it till much later in life, because I figure by 40, you either, you're going to be who you are. You know what I mean? Not that you can't change. You can always make money, and people do have big changes, after 40. But I just don't want to rob them of the, just that drive and that, that path of where to go. And I don't want to direct the path either. I don't want to direct the path. I want them to find their own path to happiness. And, they can see by their lifestyle with me, and I don't live extravagantly by any means, but we have a nice home. I write checks for college. I don't borrow money. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that come very easily to me that I know do not, because I don't come from money. I was raised in a trailer park with my father for a good part of my life. And so didn't even have a house, wasn't raised in a home, really. We lived in rental homes, and then parents divorced and in a trailer. And I had a blast because I had a great dad. So it didn't matter. But I understand, the reality of it is, you don't want to direct somebody's life. Let them find their own way, And so with my kids, they're going to be able to do that. Like I say, they're going to see it. They're not going to get handed a bunch of money because that'll ruin them. I've seen kids ruined by money. Back to the trust fund kid, though. The trust fund kid that I met, what the brilliance in what his great grandfather had set up, other than letting the kids have money too young, that's the problem. But what they did is the assets were put in trust and were controlled by the kids together could vote for who manages it. None of them had control. Only together could they, by majority rules, they would vote for who would manage the trust. And then the grandfather had allowed, certain percentage of that trust could be distributed to the kids, but none of them have control over it, and that's a really good way. So with my kids, they'll be able to manage, the control over it. And even, my wife, if I die, I don't want some guy to move in and take my money that I made. So, so even for my wife, so when I die, the assets are held. My wife can, she can spend it like she wants, but in the end, the assets still stay with the kids, but out of their control. Managed, yes, but not in their control where they can take the money. After 40, they'll get a much more significant piece of it. And I haven't even decided beyond that if they'll ultimately get full control over it or not. But I kind of like it just staying as a foundation that grows. So that's the plan. And but like I say, I don't want to do anything to adversely affect their future. And I've seen too many kids ruined by money. Just spoiled. And I don't spoil my kids. They do, like I say, they don't hurt for clothes. They don't hurt for things. But it isn't things that spoil a kid. It's really, that's more, ethics and morals, and you know what I mean. And so I try to do the best job I can. And so far, all my kids have turned out really great. So I'm very proud of that. So that's where that is.
Yeah, I just agree with everything you say, and it's reassuring to me, I suppose. I'm on the same wavelength as you. So how can somebody with no funding, no money, get involved with real estate investing?
Okay, so look, I talk to a broad spectrum of people. There's people that are pretty sophisticated real estate people that like to talk to me, that want to partner with me, and then I've got the majority of people that go all the way down to somebody that's never bought a piece of property. And really, that's where my heart is. I'd like to help the people that are just getting started, And so I like to tell people are, okay, look, I started with land. And not land, I'm sorry. My first property I ever bought, 19, I bought a commercial property. Now, I kind of just fell into that because, I was a cabinet maker. I needed a shop. I found a hungry realtor I was using to just find a place for me to rent. And then he says, hey, why don't you buy it? And I had long hair to my shoulders. I had bad allergies, so I always looked like I was stoned, even though I wasn't. And I'm driving a Camaro because I couldn't afford a truck. But my boss before me had gone out of business. I had bought tools up until that point, all carpentry tools. So I was ready to make cabinets out of my garage or whatever. And that's what I did. So then I looked for a shop, got a shop that I rented. Then I had to move because for other reasons I had to move because I was living in the shop, and the landlord was afraid the place would burn up and he'd get sued with me living in there. So this realtor that I talked to said, hey, let me show you some buildings. Well, he ends up taking me to the building where I had previously worked, and my boss had lost it in foreclosure. He'd gone bankrupt and lost it. So here I am, 19, and I'm thinking I can buy this. Now, I'd already had an interest in real estate, and I'd read many books between 15 and 19 on making money in real estate. I was already fascinated with it. And I've always been a bit of a wheeler dealer. I probably went through, 15 cars before I was 19, just buying and selling cars. So anyways, but that opened my eyes. I said, I can buy this. He said, yeah, owner finance. They'll owner finance it. So I said, okay, look, I don't have any money. We need probably $10,000 down. So I made an offer, $10,000 down, owner carry it. It was tough times. This goes way back. It was pretty bad times at the time. And so they said, sure, we'll take it. And I got a 6-month escrow, or a 6-month look, if you will. So I had the full rights to move into the building. So that I said, let me come into the building, let me clean it up a little bit over the next 6 months. We'll close at the end of 6 months. They were happy. They were glad that somebody was occupying the building because they were worried about damage and graffiti and things. So I moved into the building, and for 6 months I was rent free. So I saved $10,000, and that took care of the down. I got the down payment. I bought it. Within a couple weeks of me owning, the sign was still on the property. And some guy stopped by and says, hey, how much are they asking for the building? I says, well, it's not for sale. I bought it. And he says, well, how much you pay for it? And I told him, he said, I'll give you $20,000 more right now.
Really?
And, I wasn't going to sell it. But I thought, wow, I thought, man, I'm on a gold mine here. I made 20 grand, equity anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what got me excited. And so all of a sudden, and you got to remember, prior to this, I had a tough time borrowing $2,000 for a used pickup, and so that, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, I can borrow $140,000 or whatever it was, owner finance, no credit checks, nothing. And if I'm late on a payment, it doesn't get reported, so it doesn't even affect your credit. You follow me? So even though I didn't take that offer, I buckled down and built my business. And still had hard times. I was behind on payments at times. And that was the other beauty, is it didn't matter. Nobody saw it. I always paid. I always got caught up. But the fact that I was late, if that was a bank loan, it'd be scars on my record. Because it was owner finance, nobody reported it. You know what I mean? It just doesn't go reported. And so anyhow, that's not the key reason. That was just tough times, and everybody was going through it. But so I got that. Then I started looking at other property because my eyes were so big after being offered $20,000 more than what I paid for it. I started looking at other buildings, houses. I found a house. I think I could get. Yeah. Well, I found a house. I started concentrating on residential property, and they made cards that said, "I buy homes for $50,000," and I'd give that to a real estate agent. And they just laugh and they go, yeah, well, don't we all, but they don't. And agents don't necessarily have money, and they don't necessarily have a broad mind. They understand commission more than anything. They know they got to make a sale to get a commission, and that's what they're most concerned with. So being in touch with realtors is very good. And so you always want to maintain a good relationship with multiple realtors. Because a realtor, if you're in touch, they'll remember you. If you're not in touch, they're going to forget you. And it's very important because, you could be in touch with a realtor quite often, and then all of a sudden they come upon a deal, and then somebody makes contact with them, and then they sell to that person. You follow me? You have to stay in touch to be in the forefront of somebody's mind. So you want to definitely let people know that you're a buyer, you're a player for real estate, even if you don't have any. And especially times like right now, the interest rate is so low right now that people can't make money on their money. People can't make money on their money. So that is the perfect environment for owner financing. So you can go approach somebody and say, hey, if you approach somebody that owns a rental, they've owned it for 15 years, chances are that property's paid for. So you can say, hey, you want to sell this thing? And if they're getting old, they may not want the hassles of tenant or rental. They may want to move away and go retire somewhere. So they'll say, yeah, I want X amount of dollars. So once you negotiate a good deal, that's great. But then the second is the financing. If you don't have much money, then, don't be afraid to tie up a property. The main thing is you got to know value. So that's what I did. I knew value because I was trying to look at buying everything I could. I knew I couldn't buy stuff that required a bank loan, but if I got a good enough deal, no problem. If it's worth 70 and I can buy it for 40, I can go find a partner. Now people say, well, where am I going to go get money? Well, don't necessarily worry about borrowing. You can borrow from a stranger if you got a good enough deal. You go find somebody that is an established business person in town. I don't care if it's a farmer or whoever, somebody that's established, and go talk to them and say, hey, look, I'm looking for deals. I found some deals, or I'm going to find a deal eventually, and I'm looking for somebody that can partner with me. And then they'll say, yeah, if I can make money, I'll look at it. You know, if they're a good businessman, that's probably what they'll say. Or maybe they won't be interested, but somebody will be for sure. I'm interested. Anybody's interested in a good deal where there's money to be made. So that's what I did, is I concentrated on finding deals. Then when I got a deal, without hesitation, I'd go into escrow. And you know, when you're talking about properties under 100 grand, you know, you can write a check for $500 to tie it up, you know, and say, I'm going to close all cash in 60 days. And so $500 down, and it's subject to, you know, a clear title policy. Well, that takes a couple weeks to establish. So you can go in safely with $500 and know that you can back out within 2 weeks, as long as you negotiate that you can. Or you can even get 30 days to make sure the property's just right. You know, they call that, you know, a feasibility study. It's how I refer to it. And so a lot of times they say, well, you know, do you have your financing in order? Say, you know, it won't be financed, it'll be all cash, you know, from the family or whatever. And hopefully they'll accept that. But the fact that you put $500 up, and then if there's more, they say, well, we can make the $500 non-refundable after 10 days. I just want time to look at it. And in the 10 days, I'll show you that I have the money as well. So then you've got the deal tied up. You've got $500 at risk. Say it's going to be gone in 10 days, worst case. Well, now you go find that partner. You go back to the farmer or the business person. You say, look, this is a great deal. There's money to be made. And so that's what I did. And I had a friend of mine that had a good job. He's a little older than me. And so he partnered on me with one of the first houses that I bought. I found a house I could buy. You can go to my channel and see this story. It's too long of a story to tell here. But where one of the people answered my card for $50,000. And they said they want $50,000. And I go over and I said, I can give you $50,000. And it'll take 2 months to close because the place is a mess. I said, or we can do $34,000 cash. And, you know, we went over to the house. I mean, it was a disaster. Cockroaches. I mean, disgusting, you know, horrible situation. And their dad was living in it. So they were motivated. And so they said, okay, $34,000. So I said, okay, we'll close in 10 days. I went to my buddy. I said, look, you can be my partner, but you got to come up with $34,000 right now. And so he did what he had to do. He actually had some trouble, but we got the money. We closed the deal, turned around and sold it for $64,000. I think after cleaning it up and fixing it up, we each got $12,000. And so now I found another one. And that one I could buy by myself. I put $6,000 down. I bought a little house, owner financed. And then I found another one, and I didn't quite have the money for that. And so I called my partner on that one again. And he says, hey, I like this, Tom. I'd like to keep this one for myself. And so and actually back up a little bit. Prior to that, I found an industrial building that was a very good deal, Another one, a different one near mine. And so I called this guy, John Brooks, that I used to work for. He's actually passed away since. Super good guy, great guy. Anyways, successful guy too. And I said, hey, John, I go, man, I got this great deal. I think it's worth $220,000. I'm buying it for, I think, $120,000. You know, how about being my partner on this? And he looks at it and he says, Tommy, he goes, that's a great deal, no question. He goes, but I don't want a partner. and I'm like, oh, well, what are we going to do? And he says, how about I give you $20,000 and I just buy it by myself? I'm like, that's a great idea, you know? So that's when I learned about assignments. And so I just assigned my position over to him. He gave me $20,000 and now, heck, I'm rich again. And so, and then, you know, I bought some other stuff and then I did the same thing with one of these other houses I found. A friend of mine, you know, he says, hey, Tom, we can go in on, I'll buy it with you. He goes, but I kind of like to keep this one. And we figured there was $15,000 profit on that. And I said, just give me $6,000. And he gave me $6,000. You know, I might have made $7,000 otherwise, but so he took it over, you know, and then, but now, you know, I bought a couple places, owner finance now by myself. I had $30,000-$40,000 now too. And, you know, and then I bought it. And then I bought a house with a loan. In fact, the first house I bought, I think I got a 9 and an 8% interest, which was a good deal at that time, but crazy high now. And I have loans that are based on the LIBOR too. And everything's still so low. But anyways, back then, it was 9 and an 8%, but I got a great deal. I mean, it was like the Playboy Mansion. It was huge, you know, and I loved it. It was a great place. I lived there almost 10 years. And so anyways, things can happen very quickly. If you're just getting started, I mean, look, that's my story. I just looked at properties with zero in my pocket. a long hair. I mean, I had every disadvantage you could have. Young, self-employed. Your name's mud when you're self-employed. Brand new self-employed teenager. Are you kidding? And that you know what I mean? There's nothing worse. Then add long hair, allergies. You look like you're stoned. It just wasn't a good combination. But people don't know unless they know. It doesn't matter. It just does not matter. And so the main thing is get started now. And I understand a lot of people have fear. And what I would tell you is, I'm kind of a wheeler dealer. I like, it used to depress me. I'd put all my money and I'd get a great deal. And then I'd rehab or I'd have this property, but all my money's gone. It's invested into something. And so I'm still looking for properties. But at the same time, what I found is a nice, I call it like a little fix, is if I find a good deal on something, like a forklift or a machine. I tell people, when you go shopping for a car, what do? You start looking at the car you want, and you find used or new, whatever. You start looking, and you start looking at the features and the models and the different options that the car has. And then you're looking at the year, how old and how many miles. Well, that's like looking at a house. Does it have a pool? Is it in a good neighborhood? That's kind of like, does it have a good paint job? Does it have an air conditioner? Does it have buckets and leather? The house is kind of the same thing. And so I tell people, when you're looking at a car, you're figuring out what's a good deal before you spend your money. And so you do that, you do the math, and you figure it out, and ultimately you make your decision. Well, that's how it is in real estate too. But here's also a thing, and I was looking for a lathe. I have a machine shop as one of my companies. I manufacture stuff. And so I know machines a little bit, because I'm looking at them. So I know it's probably been 10 years, but I'm looking for machines. I'm looking at lathes. I'm determining what's a good deal. And I get a great deal. It's in another state. I order this thing used. They're going to ship it to me. Well, then I go to another auction locally, and I find a 10 times better deal. Loads of tooling, beautiful lathe, brand new, going belly up. I bought it for like $3,000. Now I have another one coming to me not as good. That's $6,000 that I already paid for. Well, as soon as it got here, I sold it to another guy for $12,000. But see, because I was looking at lathes, I knew a good deal when I saw one. And in this case, I found a better deal than I'd already gotten a good deal on. But when it got there, I just flipped it and I made $6,000 on that. Now, a fire truck. I found a fire truck for sale in near Dallas, Texas, actually, and it was an online thing. It was when the internet just started going, and so I made an offer on this thing, and then 3 months later, I get a slip saying, "Come get your truck," and I'm like, "Oh no!" But on that one, I looked at this fire truck. This truck cost $300,000 brand new, and they cost $500,000 now. It was a ladder truck, went up 10 stories, so an American LaFrance, and so I bought this fire truck on a bid, what we call a silent auction or a hidden bid, So I made a bid, and I found out I got it for $11,000, and I knew it was worth $30,000. So I got it for $11,000, and then I found a broker, and he just sold it for me to another city in a whole different state for $30,000. And so, I made a chunk on that, about 20 grand. And so it doesn't matter. Things of value. Just remember, things of value you can make money on, and, even a friend of mine's daughter, while she's in school, she goes to garage sales and she knows purses. It's always good if you have information already that you already know stuff. Use that. She knows purses. She knows fashion. So she's in a nice neighborhood. My friend's quite wealthy. Well, she goes to those garage sales in the nice neighborhoods, and she finds like a $500 purse brand new that she can buy for $20 or $30. So she buys that, then she puts it on eBay and sells it for $100 and makes $70. And there's so many things you can do, and that are relative to your income and your lifestyle and what you can do. It's like right now, it's difficult for me to play with a house where I can make 10 grand. I just don't want to go through them. But if I didn't have so much going on, I'd be all for it. You know what I mean? I'd be up to it. But relative to your situation, that 10 grand, you turn it, you make 20, you make 30, and then pretty soon you're rolling. It's like a big card. I tell you, it's like a big, big card. hard to get rolling, but once you get it rolling, man, hard to stop, you know?
So how do you find these properties? Are they in areas that you know? And how do you find these people? I mean, that's got to be hard, right? Do you have any tips? Is it through networking events or, people you already know telling people what you do?
I actually think that's the easiest part. The hard part, the hard part is finding a deal. The hard part is finding something that you have the rights to buy that is worth much more. That's the hard part. Okay? But you're right. That's how you do it. The easiest place to get familiar with is where you spend the most time. You spend the most time at home. You spend the most time at work. Look around at work, and from work to home, look at in between, whatever you can safely look at. And you'd be amazed. You start pulling into neighborhoods on and off between the path from your home and your work, and you will find some unbelievable communities that you didn't know existed. I have a little community near me right now. Didn't even know it existed. It is not an area that I would call the most desirable, but once you get in there, you realize there is this huge green belt, a creek. You can fish, you can walk, you can ride bikes. It goes into a big community soccer field. I mean, 40, 50 acres of more play area. But it's like an amenity to the neighborhood, a park like no other. And people don't know about it. I didn't know about it. So now I'm like, oh, I want to buy houses in this area. This is fantastic. And it's actually near my work, so I do look at it. And I did buy one too recently. And I helped a friend with that one. They were looking, and I helped them find it. And actually, they found it. I told them what to do. They found it. I helped them close the deal. But they did find it. And then that brought my attention to their area. And I'm like, I want to find some more stuff in this area. My problem is I got so many houses now that are so high value that I love houses for flipping, to be quite honest. I don't like them for long-term hold because with houses, what you'll find is, and I'm not discouraging anybody, you always can buy relative to your market so you can flip it. If you buy it and it's worth 100 and you get it for 70, the easiest, safest thing is sell it right away, make your money. If you're going to hold it, you're becoming a speculator, and values can drop. But if you buy it right, if you do start seeing an indication that it's going to drop, as soon as things start to drop, other people start selling too. So more stuff goes on the market, it gets tougher to sell. But back to the point of what you were talking about. No, I think finding money is actually not the hardest part. Finding the deal is the hardest part. Get a great deal. If you go to a bank, that's like pulling teeth. When you don't have credit, don't go to a bank. But go to an individual that's successful. Start talking to people now. Before you even, or while you're looking for this real estate. But, usually somebody has somebody in their family that has money. I don't. I'm that guy now. But somebody usually has, somebody's got related to somebody that's successful. You know what I mean? I just went to a guy everybody's got a job, right? Chances are your employer, he's probably got some money. You know what I mean? So there's a source right there. And that's what I did. When I went to my buddy John, he's somebody that I worked for. And so I knew he was successful. And you saw the reaction that I got. So, I would say that would be a good place to start with. Start with your employer, or, even by working somewhere, you kind of know other people that are wealthy that do business with the business that you work for. And it might be a guy that you say hi to every day and, talk to him. What I find I'm this way. I like, young people that are interested in, people ask me all the time, hey, how do I do it? How do I do it? And not just about real estate. They see other stuff, businesses that I have, and they think, hey, how do I get into this? And I'm always quick to share. And, but if somebody comes to me and, and says, hey, if they say, hey, I'd like to borrow money, I'm not into just loaning money for business. I'm not interested. But if you come to me and you say, hey, I got something that's worth 100 and I'm buying it for 50, then I'll be like, here's 10, here's 20. I'll buy it without you. It's just, and that's the best part is you don't necessarily approach them now. I approach somebody with the idea of them being my partner. You don't have to do that. Say, if I have a great deal, can you buy it? And you make some more money than I do. I just want a piece. And that'll be easy to do. You can talk to a complete stranger and make that happen,
So advertising yourself, telling people what you do is the key.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, think about it. I mean, I actually go in this last video I shot. I kind of explain a deal lost. Maybe I was already in one that I put out about the guy sleeping. You know, you have to always let people know what you do. That realtor, that house that I bought for $34,000, that was my card that said I buy houses for 50,000 and less. And people laughed at that card. But it was one of those guys that got that card that probably laughed, that said, "Oh, hey, I'll call this guy because this is what this guy wants." You know what I mean? And so that's the other thing. Making a card's a good idea. You make a card like that, people will remember you. And while you're gone, that card may float around. In fact, they might even think it's a joke. You know what I mean? Like, they might hold on to a card that says, "I buy homes under $50,000. They might just think that's funny to keep around. You know what I mean? But then something comes around, they'll call you. Or, they might say, "Hey, you know what? I got one. It's not 50,000, but it's 100,000 and it's a really good deal." Well, hey, that'll work too. You got to be creative. I think about it's one thing. It's about always trying. In fact, I'm reminded of when I had my cabinet shop, things got really tight. And I remember I was down to like 30, 40 bucks in the bank, and I still had my big building, but it was not good at the moment. And I went down to a print shop, and I had flyers made this like on a Friday. And at the end of the day, I was killing me even to spend 30 bucks on stamps. Then I stamped all these flyers, and I hand addressed them to people in this neighborhood. And this is just to get business for my cabinet shop. And I sent those out that Friday. The next morning, the mail delivered, within 24 hours because it was local. The next morning, hadn't even been 24 hours, and this is mailing a letter. I get a phone call. Guy says, "Hey, I got a cabinet I need built. You want to do it?" I said, "Sure." Got my Camaro, ran over there, and he says, I looked at it. We made it, and even though I had long hair, he could see I was a good guy. He knew I knew what I was doing. That's the thing. Knowledge comes through. Knowledge comes through. When you're talking to somebody, you can tell. It doesn't matter what they look like a hobo. You can tell if they're smart or not. That comes out pretty quick. And so anyhow, this guy realized, okay, yeah, you're going to do a good job. You'll build my cabinets. Everything's great. He cut me a check for $500. So I went from scraping money to just barely being able to pay the postage just to get these flyers out. Within 24 hours, I got a guy writing me a check, and now I got a job for, $2,000 to make these cabinets. And that was the beginning of a long relationship of doing work for that guy too. So, but if I hadn't sent the letter, I would have never had it. And that could be the same thing. I just sent out 270 letters to a neighborhood just now. And I haven't gotten one call yet. Not one. So I'm in a market where everybody's kind of probably doing that, to be honest. And so it's more fierce. It's tougher. But, don't be afraid to knock on a door. Or if you see a property that's in distress, like I made a video the other day. I'm driving. What I saw is like the louver blinds were like way up and kind of broken on a front window. And I immediately recognized that is kids lift up the window and they use it as a door to come in and out of the house. And they probably, if there's parents, they'd be screaming at them, or it's probably a rental is my thought. So I thought, I took that address down. That guy's getting another letter because, and I might even mention, "Hey, I see the place is torn to hell." You know what I mean? And then he'll go over there and believe me, people, when they have rental property, a lot of times they go over and they see stuff like that and they're like, that's it. I just want to get rid of it. They panic. You know what I mean? And when people are like that, and you never know why people will sell cheap. People think, why would anybody sell their property cheap? There's a million reasons. A million I haven't even encountered. There's so many reasons. One of the, I always talk about deals that got away because I'm the guy that no deal should get away from me because I know more than anybody. That's how I feel about myself. And so, but they do get away from me, and I take it hard. I hate it. And so I had one, and see, that's what I love about conversations like this. It stirs up memories. So I had a beautiful home, and I always adored the property across the street from me. It was beautiful, beautiful. 3 acres, beautiful. And older house, but I thought, the possibilities. So I go on vacation for 10 days. I come back and I'm pulling up in front of my house and there's a for sale sign on the dream property across the street. And I'm a savvy investor. I never reached out. I never reached out to them. And their property came up for sale. And so I'm like, oh, crap. I mean, all of a sudden, I stomp on the gas just to get in the driveway faster. I jump in, I make the phone call, and I remember the guy's name. I won't say his name, but I go, hey, I just saw the properties across the streets for sale. He says, oh yeah, it's under contract. I go, I want to make an offer on it. He says, well, they've already accepted it. I said, I don't care. I want to make a bigger offer. I go, how much are they? And he told me what they were asking for. I go, well, no wonder it sold so fast. You're selling it too cheap. I was mad. And so he was mad at me now. He said, I'm not presenting an offer because this offer's going through. I hung up the phone. I walked across the street immediately, knocked on the door, and I said, hey, I just heard your place just sold way too cheap. I said, I want to buy it. If you can undo this deal that you're in, I want to buy it. I said, I'll give you $50,000 more. And the lady looks at me, and you'd think she'd be happy, right? She burst into tears. And she goes, my husband left me, and I just want to get rid of this place. She didn't care. Her husband just left her. He left her the house. He left her for another woman, I think. She didn't care. I just said, I'll give you $50,000 more. She goes, I don't care. I just want to get out of this place. And guess what? She didn't care. She sold it to the guy that, bought it for dirt cheap. And now I drive by and there's 4 houses on the property. It's beautiful. It was a fantastic deal. But you never know. But divorce, I'll tell you something. I like cabs. I'm a Cabernet drinker. So I was looking for, and I still like a deal. I'm looking at these double wide wine coolers. I wanted stainless steel. They're very expensive, the ones that I want. And I thought, I'll look in Craigslist for the heck of it. This is recent. And so I look in Craigslist, and I go, hey, that's exactly what I want. Except it's 1/4 the price. So I call up, and the lady says, yeah, come on out, check it out. Well, I get there, and they're both empty. They're not plugged in. I said, well, let's plug them in. I want to make sure they work. She said, okay. So I plug them in, and I'm waiting 15 minutes for them to, get cool. And I look over, and there is 100 bottles of wine on a table. And I said, hey, how come that wine isn't in the coolers? And she said, oh, well, I'm just going to sell the coolers. And I'm also I'm having the wine appraised. I never even thought about that. She said, I'm having my wine appraised. She said, I just got divorced, and we bought almost every one of those bottles together at the vineyards that we visited. And she says, I don't have the heart to drink any of them. Okay? And I'm thinking, well, I do. And so I walk over there, and all these awesome cabs that are up to 15 years old. And I just pull all the cabs out that I'm interested in. And I go, how much you want to sell these for? She goes, you can have them for $40 a piece. The first one, I have a little wine app. The first one I took a look at was worth $175. So I said, hey, I'll take them. So I spent $400 on that wine. I probably bought 10 bottles. And then the 2 wine coolers, only one of them got cool. The other one never got cool. It didn't work. So I bought one of the coolers from her for probably $400, and then I bought almost as much wine from her. And but see, those are the kinds of deals you just don't know. But obviously, divorce, there's that's one. But other people are just like even myself. Look, I sold a house not too long ago. I sold a restaurant, and I was just kind of like done. I just wanted to get rid of it. And I sold them both a little bit cheaper than I needed to. You know what I mean? And I was motivated. I just want to be done with it. And then sometimes I'm motivated because I find a big deal that I want to buy and I don't have enough cash. So I might say, hey, I'd rather just sell this property and roll into this other one through a tax-deferred exchange. So my motivation is get rid of this property, keep the tax benefits, and roll over. So there's just so many reasons people sell that have really nothing to do with, and not everybody cares about squeezing every cent out of a deal. And I'm one of them. So people should know that. Never assume anything. Never assume, and always ask. Because when somebody wants to sell, they will bend over backwards sometimes to help you make that deal happen. They'll work with you. They'll give you more time. They'll give you time to get the money together. They might give you owner financing if they can do it. There's all kinds of things. You just can't assume you know the answers, because people that make the assumption, and there's so many examples of that. One time I bought a remote control TV. This is a long time ago when I was young. But a remote control TV, the remote didn't work. And I thought, oh, that's why they sold it to me so cheap. And my friend he goes, hey, I'll buy it from you. And I go, okay. And I just sold it to him for what I paid for it. And then I come over to his house and I was aghast. He's using the remote. And I go, what? I sold it to you. He goes, yeah. He goes, it just needed batteries. And I'm like, oh. You know what I mean? If I just put batteries in the damn thing, I'd have had a color TV with a remote. And this is when you pushed on the remote, the channel turned, the knob turned, So again, my laziness, all those lessons, I don't forget. But even still, I miss things. But the good thing about missing a deal means is that you were this close to getting it. You know what I mean? Many times the deals that I get, I'm the second guy there. I was not the first. I get there second. And I'm waiting for number one to trip and slip and make a mistake. And I'm right on top of the seller. Look, they're not going to close. I'm like on top of them. Hey, if he's not going to close, I'll do it. So never be afraid to be number two. A backup offer is a very powerful position. I've made millions of dollars on being the second guy there, the backup position. So never think it's gone. People make mistakes. People have trouble putting it together sometimes.
Awesome. Okay, are you ready for the quick fire round?
Yeah, fire away.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Mac or PC?
Mac for me, but I have PCs everywhere around me. People that work for me.
If you could talk to anybody for 30 minutes for inspiration, who would it be?
Probably Donald Trump.
And will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Oh, right. Well, yes. I was pleased he was elected. I think having a businessman in that chair is going to make a real difference. Somebody who has a real world understanding of how the economy works. And I really do hope he succeeds. And I think if he does, there are going to be lessons learned all over the world, and other countries, including the UK, will start to look at and review their political structure. I could talk about this for hours.
Oh, he's a great guy. I've met him. And I've met him.
Oh,
and
right.
I got a nice picture with him too. I met his son too. And I met Rudy Giuliani. This is very recent, actually. And he's a great guy. He really is. I mean, I knew people that knew Trump 15 years ago that didn't particularly like him because they competed with him, And he can be a tough guy in some areas. I can't, everybody has, when you're building, sometimes you don't like the contractor, so people don't get paid, but there's two sides of all those disputes. So I don't know who to believe on that, but I can tell you he is a great guy and a very good businessman. And I mean, you look at the guy, you can judge some people by a little bit by their children. He's got great kids, great looking kids, good kids. They're productive, and look at Trump. He's kind of like me in as much as he doesn't sleep much. I only sleep about 5 hours a night. And I mean, he's like that. But he doesn't even drink. The guy doesn't even drink or smoke. And I mean, that's amazing. And I can see, if you cut drinking out of your life, and I always tell my kids, don't even start drinking until you're 30, if you're going to start. Because that's when I started. I didn't really start drinking until I was in my 30s. But because it takes away your ambition, it takes away your ambition. And you don't want to have your ambition taken away when you're most ambitious, when you're young, and that's why now I drink because now I don't, I can afford to drink. I tell my kids, say I can afford to drink now. I don't have to worry about making money anymore, So anyways.
What's your favorite place in the world?
Probably Probably Hawaii.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I've been on most of the islands. I like the Big Island real well, and I like Maui too.
I'd love to go there. I've not been. I'd really like to go.
Oh, it's unbelievable. Yeah, go to Maui or the Big Island. I mean, you're walking and the air smells like flowers, and you look up, the flowers are growing out of the trees. And I mean, the most pristine. You'll see a leaf. I have a picture of a leaf is as big as my kid, and there's not even a brown edge on it. You know what I mean? It's just as you pull away and you look back at it. I mean, it's just so amazingly beautiful in every way. Yeah, I think everybody should go to Hawaii, go to Maui, or if you can, go.
If viewers could only watch one video on your channel, what video would you recommend?
It says, well, it depends on your situation. If you're talking about your first deal, I have one called "No Money, No Problem," or no money down, no problem. That really epitomizes my strongest beliefs, and that is that you need the deal more than you need money. You need the deal, because whether you're rich or poor, what both of you don't have is the deal. The only difference is if a rich guy finds a deal, he can buy it without you, But if you're a poor guy and you find the deal, you can get in between the two and make money. So that's it. Probably that one.
Cool. I'll link to that in the description so people can click on it. And the last one is, what's your biggest pet peeve?
Well, if you work for me, I don't like lazy. I don't like lazy at all. Yeah, probably that's it. Number one, I don't like whiners. I don't like people that whine. Just not productive.
Yeah.
And I don't like it when I do it myself. So. Yeah.
Now, your channel is definitely going to be a great resource for your children in years to come. But do you think your videos are going to be enough to help people take action? Or do you think you'll provide a guide or something? And how far do you think you can take this? Because I've got an idea of the direction I see my channel going in, and I'm just curious to know what direction you see your channel going in.
Yeah. Now listen, the videos are all you need. That's it. No question. Because if you don't have it within yourself to try, I mean, a lot of people say, and I get requests for mentorship all the time, and in just the 6 weeks that I've been in. But not only that, before I ever made a video, I've got doctors that are friends and other people, and they'd like their kid to hang out with me. Hey, I'll pay you. Can you just have my son hang out with you? And I was like, no, because it doesn't really work that way. It's not by osmosis necessarily, but you got to want it. You got to want it. I wanted it. I've wanted it from day one. I want money. I want to make money. I come from modest family, modest means, had a good life, but did not have a lot of things that I wanted. I didn't get to go to camp when my buddies got to go to camp. I got to ride on the back of a motorcycle, not have my own, stuff like that. So I wanted it. I wanted money. And so you have to want it. And even that's, as I get richer and older, even though I have less motivation to make money. I have less motivation. You know what I mean? I've already got enough. I've got enough. Kids are going to be fine too, And so I strive for motivation. So now, and I notice that happens with a lot of people that actually kind of get very successful, like Jack Welch from General Electric and Lee Iacocca, all these guys. I think what happens is you start getting older, you lose your ambition a little bit to grow, and you're kind of like, what else is there? And so there's helping people, of course, being philanthropic, and and I do help people, but at the same time, all you have left for your legacy is to kind of share what you know. And so that's me. I'm kind of sharing what I know now, and so my motivation is probably just to help people get there. But also instill in my kids, of course. My number one is my kids. But I'm happy, but I know firsthand that a lot of people say they're interested, but they're not really willing to do the work. Or they kind of, look, I wish I could play a guitar and sing, okay? But I obviously don't want it enough that I take lessons. Or, you know what I mean? If I wanted it, I'd take lessons, and I'm sure I could learn to sing, I could play guitar. It's not what I want, so I don't want it bad enough. And I have time to do it. I just don't want it bad enough. And so you have to want it. If you don't want it, it's not going to happen. You can't just pay somebody $10,000 to be your mentor and make it happen. You know what I mean? In fact, I know Trump was getting sued over some of this stuff, and I understand the problem. People say, "Yuck, I'm going to give you $10,000. Now teach me to make $1 million." Yeah, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. All we can do is give you guidance, and that's why I say, for me, my videos. I mean, really, if somebody just watches them all, and I think about books like Think and Grow Rich and As a Man Thinketh and Wealth Without Risk and How to Make Nothing But Cash. These are all books I've read and stuff. But the books I really like are the ones that are mostly motivation. I've read Think and Grow Rich 100 times. You can read it in an hour. It's that short. If you haven't read it, I urge you and your people subscribe to you, get Think and Grow Rich. It's just a great little book written 200 years ago, but it tells you what you already know, which is you got to try. You got to try. You make your own problems. You make your own happiness. And I always tell my kids, look, a good life is by design. It's a good life is by design, and a good body is by design. You put crap in your body's going to get fat, and you're going to be sluggish. You eat it, put rocket fuel, it'll be healthy. And believe me, I don't put rocket fuel in mine. I'm just saying I know these things. I know these things, but that's the bottom line. I think that number one, you have to want it, because then like I say, I've read so many books, and all I've ever gotten out of a book usually is one good paragraph out of one chapter. But that's worth it. That one idea is worth it. $20 for a book, this much information. That's fine. That's fine. It's trying to get through the book is a pain, So that's what I would say to that.
And where do you see your channel going? Do you think you'll start capturing deals in real time?
I think it's possible. I mean, I actually did one the other day where I was bird dogging. I was called bird dogging for deals, and I didn't get anything, but I kind of even have an interaction with a guy on the phone. But that's kind of all part of it. I mean, really, it's there's a good chance I'll catch something live now because I keep my phone. I have a phone with me all the time. But really, the best thing I can do right now is I just reflect on past deals that I've done and how I got there. I do remember them all. And I don't have to show a picture of the house or the building. You know what I mean? I mean, in the intro on some of my stuff, I show overviews of big buildings and big properties that I own or have owned. But that's TV. That's TV. When I see these fixer-upper deal things on television, that's not practical. I mean, they go out and they buy a house. They put $50,000 in it to make 20. No thanks. You know what I mean? I want to make 50,000 by maybe putting 20, but preferably by just putting in 10 and just flipping it. No, yeah. As far as the channel goes, you're telling me that it's growing pretty fast. I believe you, and I like the response. People are very receptive, So I hope just the word spreads and people take it and go into your channel. They'll learn. I've listened to you. You're a very good communicator. People oftentimes associate. It's reassuring to see somebody that's like you or no better than you or what you perceive as better. You know what I mean? And to know what they know, it's nice. I've always been one to be inspired by other people that are successful. I just always have, and I always look at somebody that's successful, unless they're a brain surgeon. I know I'm not going to be doing surgery, but if they're making money buying and selling or in business, then I'm like, hey, I look at them as a little bit of a mentor, a role model anyways. And then you can always role model anybody, you role model people that you admire, you role model them. Hey, I want to be like him. And then, but you never know. You never know. It's funny. I'll leave you one more story here. This is kind of funny. I had a guy was calling me up to come measure his cabinets. And I was like 30, 40 minutes away. I don't really want to go out there. I want to go out there. And he had this New York accent. And I thought, I don't trust this guy. I don't know why. I was young. So anyways, he finally was so persistent. So I come out and I'm pulling up to a 10,000 square foot home. He didn't tell me he had a 10,000 square foot home he needed cabinets in. And so I'm like, oh my God, and so I get there and he's got a nice car, the pretty wife, everything's cool. Walk through, it's like biggest job I've probably ever done. And he's got money and he's throwing it out up front. And I remember I was just getting near to finishing his job, and I won't say his name, but I said, so how did you do it? How do you make all this money? And he told me that he was selling tickets at LAX for one of the airline companies 8 years before. And I said, now you got this? And he says, well, no, and I won't even talk about it, but he got into a certain business, legitimate business. So I'm like, yeah, and so what's the secret? What's the secret? And so he tells me that his buyers, he would have his salesmen go to the buyers of the different companies that bought from him, and he would give them gifts, and then he would overcharge them, and they would let it go. It was very disheartening. He basically told me he stole from all of his customers. It was horrible. But that was not the inspirational story I expected. So you never know. And it's sad because that goes to some people's feeling that people that are successful are thieves. Well, that one actually applied to a degree, I have to say. But that's the only person I've ever encountered that way. Most people I know are like me. You just, the bottom line is people say, because I have other companies that are successful, and they'll say, how do you do it? And I say, it's not very exciting. It's work. You just work. And believe me, being an investor like this, it's work. I mean, you see it, you pull over your car, you go knock on a door, you write down the address, you write the letter, you never hear back. That happens a lot. But the one time you do, and you get a receptive person, and they make the deal, it's like, great, yeah, that one deal was easy. But there's 100 failures. It's like an actor. They do 1,000 auditions before they get the part. And then all of a sudden they're rich quick. Well, they did auditions for 10 years before they got rich quick. You follow me? So It's kind of like that. But real estate is a very sensible vehicle to get there quickly. It is numbers. But I mean, look, you make 100 phone calls, you do whatever you do 100 times and like I say, you look at properties in your neighborhood. Look at the for sale sign. Call on it. How much is it? When it sells, find out what it's sold for. That adds to your knowledge base. What are things worth? And so pretty soon you'll know what things are worth. You know what that one just sold for that. That one just sold for that. You'll know this. And you're educating yourself. And if you're interested in property, it's not work. It's just it's interesting. And then all of a sudden when a for sale sign comes up and you're the first one there and they tell you how much they want for it, and you go, I'll take it. Because you have to think twice. It's a deal. And that's the key to success, is knowing a deal when you see one. And I've got other videos and I'll make more. I mean, I've lost so many deals I've lost. I remember those more than I remember the successes, because they're so painful. They're so painful, So, but the good news is that, and I always make myself feel better, say, well, I'm on the right track. I'm doing something right, but that's it. That's what I would say. Number one, guys, is look at the area immediately around your home or wherever you are most often. If you're at work all the time, look around the stuff that's around your office or wherever you work, and don't think. I mean, you can look at trailers, you can look at houses, you can look at buildings, commercial, office. Small little office might be within your grasp and able to do. But whatever you do, just get educated and know values. You just have to know the value of something so that you can know a good deal when you see it. And that's really, it's that simple. Just get yourself educated on values so you know a deal when you see it, tie it up, and then go grab your money from whoever that is, and then go get your money.
Tom, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really great talking to you. What's the best way for people to get hold of you if they want to contact you?
I just want you to look at my videos. I don't, a lot of people, say, hey, can I have your email? And I'm thinking, what for? I'm not going to mentor you. I'm not looking for partners. So, unless you want to offer me a television deal, but yeah, all I want is, nobody needs to contact me, but you can go to YouTube and look up Flip Anything USA, and you've got free videos, and you can draw on my experience for free. That's it.
Of course. Okay, Tom, thanks again, and I really look forward to speaking to you again soon.
All right, thanks, Sandy. I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Wow, what a great guy Tom is. It would definitely be worth your while checking out his channel. I'll link to it in the description, and I'll throw a card up on the screen. If you have any questions, please leave a comment down below, because I know Tom will be coming back to check on that. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like and share. And if it's your first time visiting this channel, definitely subscribe so you won't miss my future videos, which will all be geared towards helping you start or improve your property business. Thanks again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.
Yep. Sorry. Somebody texted me that they're sick. Say that last line again. It is interesting. And I like collaboration because normally I am a fierce competitor and I don't share at all.